My name is Maya. I'm 26 years old. I live alone in a small flat on the 3rd floor of an old building. I moved here 2 months ago after getting a new job in the city. The flat is small but quiet, and for someone like me, who loves peace, it felt perfect. But everything changed last week. It was a cold Wednesday night. I came home late from work. I was tired, hungry, and just wanted to relax. I made some soup, took a shower, and sat on my bed with my blanket. I turned on a soft song and started reading a book. Suddenly, I heard something. It was a noise, like something falling. It came from the flat next to mine, apartment 6B. I paused and listened. Another sound, like a chair scraping the floor. At first, I thought nothing of it. Maybe the neighbor dropped something. But then I remembered I had never seen the person in 6B, not once. I had seen the old man from 6A. I had even met the woman with 2 cats from 6C. But 6B, always locked, always quiet, until now. The next morning I asked the building guard, Ramesh. He was a kind, older man who smiled often. "Who lives in 6B?" I asked. He looked at me, surprised. "You didn't know? It's been empty for months." "What? But I heard noises last night." Ramesh looked a bit unsure. "Sometimes kids break in. Maybe it was that. I'll check." I nodded, but something didn't feel right. That night, I came home early and sat quietly, waiting. Around 10 p.m., I heard it again. A soft knock, then footsteps, and then a whisper. It was hard to hear, but I was sure someone said, "Help me." My heart started beating fast. I stood near the wall between my flat and 6B, listening. Again, the whisper, "Please, help." I didn't know what to do. I wanted to call someone, but who? I couldn't call the police just because of a sound, could I? I waited for a while, then decided to knock on the door of 6B. I stepped outside. The hallway was quiet, the lights flickering. I stood in front of the door. It looked old, dusty, like it hadn't been touched in years. I knocked once. No answer. I knocked again. "Hello? Is someone there?" Still nothing. But I felt someone inside, watching. I returned to my flat and locked the door. I didn't sleep much that night. The next day, I tried to forget. I focused on work, met a friend for coffee, and came home late. I hoped the mystery would disappear, but it didn't. At 11 p.m., the sounds began again, this time louder. A bang. Then something broke. A thud. A cry. I couldn't take it anymore. I called Ramesh and told him to come up. Together, we stood in front of 6B. "Are you sure someone's in there?" he asked. I nodded. "I heard someone. Please open it." He took out the spare key and slowly turned the lock. The door creaked open. The room inside was dark. Dust danced in the light from the hallway. We stepped in. The air was heavy, like no one had opened a window in years. The furniture was old and covered in white sheets. Everything looked untouched. And then we saw her. A girl, maybe 14 or 15 years old, sitting in a corner, her face pale, her eyes wide. She looked at us, afraid. "Who are you?" I asked softly. She didn't speak. She just stared. Ramesh called the police. They came quickly. One officer talked to her gently. Bit by bit, the girl spoke. Her name was Nisha. She had run away from home. A man had found her at the bus station and brought her here. He told her it was safe, but it wasn't. He locked her inside. He said if she tried to leave, bad things would happen. She had been there for 3 days, alone, cold, afraid. I felt my heart break. The police searched the building. The man was gone, but they promised to find him. Nisha was taken to safety. Before she left, she held my hand. "Thank you," she whispered. I couldn't sleep again that night, but it was different. This time, I wasn't scared for myself. I was thinking of her, of how close she had been, just a wall away, and no one knew. The next morning, I made a decision. I couldn't just forget. I had to do something. I started asking questions. Who was the man? How did he get in? Why 6B? The answers would come slowly, and they would scare me even more. Because the man wasn't a stranger. I had seen him before. After that night, I couldn't go back to my normal life. I kept thinking about Nisha, the fear in her eyes, her soft voice saying, "Thank you." Something about her face stayed in my mind. And the worst part was knowing the man who locked her inside wasn't just a shadow. He was someone I had seen before. But where? I tried to remember every person I had passed in the hallway, every neighbor, every visitor. Then, 3 days later, I saw him. It was evening. I was coming back from the grocery store when I saw a man standing near the gate. He had a dark cap on, his back turned. Something about the way he stood made my stomach twist. He turned around, and I froze. He wasn't a neighbor, but I remembered now. 2 weeks ago, I saw him talking to the old man from 6A. He was smiling, helping him with his groceries. I walked past quickly, head down, but he saw me. I could feel it. That night, I called the police and told them what I saw. They said they were already looking for him. His name was Rafiq. He had done this before in other cities, tricking young girls, locking them up. He moved often, changed names. I asked, "Will he come back?" The officer replied, "He might. Be careful." So I became careful. I locked my doors. I kept my phone close. I stopped going out at night. But inside, I was angry. How could someone do that? Use a child's fear, hide behind fake kindness. Then I remembered something else. The day I moved in, my door lock was loose. I told the building manager. The next day, a man came to fix it. He didn't talk much, just worked quietly. That man was Rafiq. He had seen me. He had been inside my home. I couldn't stop shaking. He could have hurt me. He didn't. Why? Was he planning something? The police began to watch the building. A plainclothes officer sat outside every night. I was told to stay alert and report anything. Days passed. One night, around midnight, I heard a sound again, outside my door. A soft click. I turned off my music and listened. Click. Then silence. I picked up my phone and texted the officer. "He's here." A few minutes later, there was movement outside. Heavy steps. A voice shouted, "Stop!" Police. I opened my door a little and saw them take Rafiq down. He had tools in his bag. A small knife. A rope. A flashlight. He had planned something. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I stood at my door and watched as they took him away. He looked at me once. His eyes were cold, like ice. But I didn't look away. "You're not scary," I whispered. "Not anymore." The next day the officer came to see me. "You were brave," he said. "Because of you, Nisha is safe. And maybe others too." But I didn't feel brave. I felt changed. I looked around my flat. The same walls, the same bed, the same music. But I was different. I used to enjoy silence. Now I was learning to enjoy my voice. I started talking to my neighbors more. I joined a group that helps girls who escape abuse. I even spoke at a small event about what happened. My hands were shaking, but I told my story. People clapped. Some cried. One woman came to me after and said, "You saved a girl you didn't even know. That's real strength." Nisha sent me a letter a few weeks later. It said, "Dear Maya, I'm safe now. I'm living with a new family. I go to school. I eat pizza every Friday. I think of you when I'm afraid, because you heard me. You believed me. Thank you for being my hero. I cried when I read that. Not sad tears, but the kind that clean your heart. Now, every time I hear a noise at night, I don't freeze. I listen, and if something feels wrong, I speak. Sometimes being brave doesn't mean fighting. It means staying, watching, and saying, "This is not okay." This story isn't just mine. It's for every girl who was scared, for every woman who was told, "You're imagining things," for every person who listened to their fear and acted anyway. We live in a world where bad people hide in normal places, but we also live in a world where good people rise, and I choose to rise. My name is Maya. I live alone in a small flat. My life is not quiet anymore, but it's real, and it's strong. And if you ever feel something is wrong, please, listen to that feeling. You might save someone, maybe even yourself. Thank you for listening to Maya's story. If you felt her fear, her strength, and her courage, you are not alone. This story is for everyone learning English, and for everyone who has felt afraid, but still stood tall. Please like, share, and subscribe to English Stories with Alicia. More emotional and simple English stories are coming soon. And always remember, if you are scared, speak up. If you are hurt, heal. And if you are learning English, I'm here for you. See you in the next story.